Welcome. Today, we're going to put on our detective hats and dive into a really cool digital investigation. We're going to take what looks like a bunch of random words from the internet and piece them together to solve a pretty specific puzzle.
So, here's the big question driving us today. What can a few words from a website really tell us about a movie? It seems simple, right? But what if I told you that with just these phrases, we can build a super detailed profile of a film's entire game plan? Who it's for, what it wants to achieve, and where it fits in today's market. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, so here are our clues. We've pulled them straight from a film's website, and yeah, they just look like a boring old navigation menu. But for us, this is the crime scene. Every single word here is a piece of evidence, and our job is to figure out what story they're telling when we put them all together.
Okay, so like with any good detective work, the first thing you gotta do is organize the evidence. You just can't make sense of chaos. So we're gonna sort these clues into 4 clear categories. This is how we're gonna build a coherent blueprint for this project.
First up, we've got the product. This is the most basic question we have to answer. What is this thing we're looking at? We've got to identify the actual creative work at the heart of all this.
And boom, right off the bat, 2 clues give us our answer. About the film tells us, yep, there's a story here, a narrative we're supposed to get. And watch trailer confirms there's a polished piece of marketing ready to go. These 2 things, right here, they're the core of the product.
Okay, next category, the people. Who actually made this thing? You know, in any creative industry, who's behind it all is a huge deal. It tells you a ton about how the project wants to be seen.
And there it is, a single but really powerful word. Filmmakers. This tells us this isn't some anonymous piece of content floating around. No, this is a project that's actively showing off its creators. That means the talent behind the camera is a huge part of its identity.
Okay, so we know what it is and who made it. Now what about the access? How and where can people like you and me actually see this film? This part of the blueprint reveals the movie's whole distribution strategy.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because they're doing 2 things at once. Screenings points to real-world, in-person events. You know, think film festivals, maybe a special run in theaters. But then Stream the Film is all about watching it at home, whenever you want. So this project is playing in both worlds.
And that brings us to our last category, the business. I mean, beyond just telling us about the movie, why does this website even exist? What's its commercial purpose? This is where we uncovered the real industry goals.
And oh boy, these last 2 clues tell you everything you need to know. Sales is basically a giant blinking sign for distributors and investors, and press is a wide-open invitation for reporters, reviewers, anyone who can get the word out. This is not just a passion project, it's a product, and it's actively for sale.
All right, so we've taken all our clues, we've sorted them into piles, now it's time for the fun part. Let's assemble all these pieces and build a complete and frankly surprisingly detailed profile of this film.
Just look at how this all snaps into place. The Filmmakers tag? It means the movie is creator-driven. The screenings and stream combo? That shows a really modern hybrid release strategy. Sales and press confirms it's a serious player in the film biz, and the trailer shows it's ready for the public. What we're looking at is the profile of a professional, super savvy, independent film.
Let's zoom in on that hybrid strategy for a second, because it's really smart. Screenings, that's the traditional route. It's about building buzz at festivals, getting good reviews, maybe chasing some awards. It's all about prestige. Streaming, on the other hand, is about getting it to as many people as possible for the long haul. This film is trying to get the best of both worlds, critical acclaim and commercial success.
Okay, so it feels like we've cracked the case for this one film, right? But what if this isn't just a one-off? What if what we've actually stumbled upon is something much bigger, like a universal playbook for how modern movies get launched into the world? Yeah, this kind of structure is no accident. It is a deliberate, repeatable strategy. It's basically a digital launchpad designed to hit all the essential notes when you introduce a film to the public and the industry. We haven't just analyzed one website. We've pretty much decoded the entire modern playbook.
And you know what's wild? This entire playbook, all of our clues and all our deductions, it can all be boiled down to just 7 key components. Just 7 simple elements that are the foundation for a modern film launch. And here they are. The modern playbook boils down to these 7 steps. You've got to tell the story, show the preview, credit the creators, create a public event, provide home access, and then you make your pitch to both the industry and the media. That's it. That's the whole launchpad.
So think about where we started. Just a few words on a screen. And from that, we've successfully mapped out the entire public-facing strategy of a film. We know how it's packaged, who they're trying to reach, and how it plans to make an impact. It's a complete picture of its goals. But that leaves us with one final and maybe the most important question of all. This blueprint tells us everything about how the film is presented, but what's the one thing it absolutely cannot reveal? Is the film, actually any good? Well, that's a mystery you can only solve by watching.